Hello, everyone. Welcome to Clarity 16.2.1 Supportability and Feature Training. My name is Dave Sprague. In this section, we will review new updates to Clarity's risk management capabilities. So, what's new? First up, Clarity is extending the board view to investment risks, issue, and change requests. Second in line, Clarity is now providing end users with the ability to copy risks, issues, and change requests. In the prior release, this capability was not available in either Classic or the modern UX. On third base, Clarity is now providing end users the ability to create new risks or issues or change requests from existing risks, issue, or change requests. This includes the ability to navigate directly to the originating or source risk, issue, or change request. In the prior release, this capability was only available in the classic user experience. And finally, Clarity provides an administrative option to disable the logic associated with the target resolution and impact dates. This only applies to the risk and issue objects. When configured, end users are able to set a target resolution date that falls after the impact date. With the logic disabled, both classic and modern UX users will benefit. So the current out-of-the-box default logic does not allow end users to set that target resolution date that falls after the impact date. So what are we seeing in the demo? So you're going to learn how to use the board view to manage risks. We'll copy a change request. We will create a new issue from a change request and use the originating issue risk field. And then we're going to use the option to disable that target resolution and impact date logic that is frustrating with customers. So let's get started. Let me bring up 16.2.1 right now. Okay. So we're going to start here from the Clarity's project workspace. We're kind of looking at the project lists. You can see at this level, we have timeline, board, and grid view options. So let's go into a specific investment, and we'll go to the risks module, and you will now see them. Here's our grid form that you're accustomed to, but now we have a board option. So I'll go ahead and click the board button. And you can see the risks are organized according to the view options, configuration, settings. I'll open those up, and you can see columns are using the assigned to, right? We have Dana, Joyce, Deborah. The coloring scheme is based on priority. So I'll select configure card. You can see the same card design pattern is also applied here for risk, issue, and change requests. This is very consistent with the rest of the application. I'm going to go ahead and drag the probability field over. This drag and drop experience, again, is consistent with the rest of the area where boards are. I'll go ahead and hit apply. The boards are all updated with that additional value. I'll go ahead and close the panel here. Oops. And just to distribute some of the load here, I'll drag the scope change card over to Joyce, since I know that Dana is kind of working hard with this one particular risk here. And you can see all the widgets update as you'd expect. Just as an aside, I'm going to click on the issues area. And you're going to see the board again, the board view. There's nothing configured. So the first time someone clicks on a board view that hasn't been configured, they're going to get the instructions to go ahead and configure the columns. I'll click in here, and just as a reminder, the defaults for all these particular values are in fact none. So it's up to the administrator to go ahead and, or the end user, I'm sorry, to go ahead and set those up. So I just wanted to point that out. That is behaving as designed. I'll go back to the risks area, and we've got our board. So now the board capabilities for risk, issue, and change requests are now consistent with both the hierarchy and investment workspace. So that concludes the demonstration of the board view for risk, issue, and changes. So let's move on to the next feature. I'll stay in the risk module. I'll select the grid button, and we're going to talk about the ability to copy risk, issue, and change requests associated with projects, ideas, custom investments, and team investments. So providing this capability will help the modern user experience users be more efficient by reducing data entry. So let's get started. So this feature includes a new set of out-of-the-box issue and change requests, risk, issue, and change requests copy permissions or access rights that allow users to copy these items in the new user experience for which they have access. I'll go ahead into the classic experience. I'll select the administration area, and I'll look for myself, Ian, our pal here, and look at his access rights. And I believe, yep, I'm going to just type in some of the words associated with the access right, and you can see here that Ian has access rights for ideas, products, which is a custom investment, and project and team investments. So he's got all the permissions here for the copy capability. So let's go back to modern. For demo purposes, I'm just going to focus on the risk copy for the project object. The capabilities, the copy capabilities are essentially the same for issue and change requests and the other supported investment types. So I'll go ahead and select scope change. You can see a copy, the addition of a copy button in the menu bar there. I'll go ahead and select sponsorship risk. So I've got two items selected, and the copy button is still there, but it is disabled. For this release, we decided to keep the copy function to single select and await from customer input. Copy is also available from a right-click action. So I'll go ahead and highlight the row for scope change, and you can see copy is available there. You'll notice that I don't have to check the box in the left-hand side of the page. I just need to highlight the row. I do want to point out that there is a conversation associated with scope change. I'm going to open there's also a document that's attached. I'm going to go ahead and open up the flyout for this risk, go to the to-dos area, and you'll notice that there are, in fact, a couple to-dos here, both of which are completed. I point this out because conversations will not be copied. The documents will be copied. The associated to-dos will be copied. Essentially, all risk, issue, and change request attributes are copied as is, as well as the documents and to-dos that I mentioned. One more thing, associated tasks that are linked in Classic for risk and issues will not be copied. We'll talk about that in a second. So I'll go ahead and I will select the checkbox for scope change. I'll select copy. A modal is presented and the text copy is added to the risk name. I'm going to leave that here for purposes of the demo. And in this case, there is a studio, the risk object has a studio required follow-up attribute. which is also included the modal for the copy process. You'll notice the copy button is not active yet. I'll go ahead and select that, and now I am able to select copy. I got a really quick banner there, and I got a toast message telling me that the copy process is complete. That newly copied risk is inserted at the top of the listing here. And I expect this to carry forward all the same values that were brought in from the source. For example, the document is here. You'll notice that the conversation didn't get copied over, and that's consistent with the other parts of the application that do in fact have copy. All the attributes were here are the same. I'll highlight the copy scope change row and hit the details panel and go into to-dos. And you can see all of these are here they're also copied over. I can then adjust them as I want, but they're all here. One more item to show is the behavior for a user that doesn't have copy permission. So I'm going to go ahead and log out and come back and use Cheryl Amos. I'll come back to my module, my project. I'll go to the risks module. You'll see Cheryl can see the newly created copy scope change risk. I'll go ahead and check the box here next to it. There is no copy button. This is an indicator that Cheryl doesn't have those rights. However, if you click on the right-click action, you'll see the copy copy is listed there, but it is grayed out. So it's just not active. The last thing I want to show you is the behavior in Classic associated with the associated tests. I'm going to log out and come back in as Ian. And I'll go back to our favorite project and risk module. And now I will go to Classic, and I should open up right to that same project. I'm going to go to the risk issue and change area. Here is my risk list. You can see the copy scope is here. I'm going to drill into that. And associated tasks, there are none. All right, so I show that because the originating item here, the scope change risk, I click into that and go to the associated tasks. There is in fact an associated risk, and as I mentioned, that will not copy over. So in an upcoming PI, we are considering providing the ability to link tasks to risks and issues from the modern UX, and at which point we'll also consider those relationships in the copy function. So that concludes the demonstration for copying risk, issue, and change requests. Okay, so let's move on to the next feature. I'll stay in the risk module. Clarity is introducing an option in the modern UX for end users to create new risks or issues or change requests from an existing risk, issue, or change request. Coincidentally, this feature was voted up as a high priority by customers through the customer innovation process. And this capability had previously only existed in Classic, so we're bringing it forward into Modern. So the administrator does have to enable this ability from a blueprint within the corresponding risk, issue, or change request module. So this capability helps users trace risks, issue, or change requests back to the originating item with easy access to relevant information. This capability is the same across investment types. So for the demo perspective, I'm just going to focus on the project area. If I'm in the risk module, I'll do my right click again And I do not see an option to create issues or change requests. I'll go to the issues module and go to the grid, and right clicking, I don't see the option to create risks or change requests. Let's go to the change module, and as you'd expect, I don't see the option to create risks or issues. So let's enable this capability to do so. So I'm going to go into our Modern UX blueprints and go to the appropriate blueprint, and I'll get into edit mode. I'll choose the modules tab. You can see risk, issue, and changes, or the modules are already deployed or configured. I'll select risks, and I want to draw your attention to two additional capabilities are here at the bottom of the listing for enable create issues and enable create change requests. I'll go ahead and check that. Let's go over to issues. Same thing, two more new options to create risks or change requests. And over on the changes module, two more again, as you would expect. And we'll go ahead and select both of those, or on each of those. And we'll hit publish. And that happened successfully. So we'll go back to our project. I'll go into the risk module again, since that's our focus today. And if I right click, I see two more options. I see two new options, in this case, to create an issue or a change request. Just like over in issues, same thing. I'll do a right click action and two new options for create risk or change request. And as you would expect, on the change request module, I'll right click and I get the same new, but of course for risk or issues. I'll go ahead and select create an issue. I get the name field, of course. I'll type in main server is not available. Oops, my mouse bounced around. Keyboard bounced around. Wow. The ID field is presented, but it's grayed out. In this case, it's configured for auto numbering, so the end user doesn't have to do anything. So I'll select the create button. Now, Ian remains in the changes module, but the newly created issue is added to the issue module in alphabetical order. I'll just select that, close that. And you can see now the main server is not available. I have configured this column to include the originating risk issue. It's here and available. And by including that in the grid, the end user has immediate access to the source. So what was the source of this? You'll notice that it's the ID for the originating item, and it is an interactive link. If I go ahead and click that, it takes me to the properties page for the change request and gives me some more information about that. If the properties module navigation for the change request was not enabled on the blueprint, that ID would still be there, but it wouldn't be an interactive link. So that's something you need to be aware of. I'll go ahead and show that in action. I'll go back to the blueprint area, and I'll go to our favorite blueprint, go into edit mode. I'll go to our modules, and we are looking at a change request that we were allowed to navigate to because the enable properties navigation was enabled. I'll just go ahead and disable that and publish. And we'll go back to our project. And I'll go to the issue module. And you can see now the originating item is indicator is still there. It is just not an active link. The team agreed to keep the name of this field as it says originating issue risk, since it's also used in Classic across those risk issue and change modules. As an administrator, I could go into attributes in the modern UX area and rename this field as needed as a workaround if it really is not fitting with the organization. The last item I want to point out is that the originating issue risk field is also available as a filter, right? I can come into here, there it is. I can type in some of the key letters that are there. I think it was 00, and tab out, and it's just going to do its job as you would expect as a filter. I'll go ahead and remove that. So that concludes the demo for creating new risk issue or change requests from existing risk issue or change requests. So let's move on to the last feature. I'll start again in the risk module, and I'll pick a different view, the risk impacted target resolution dates. I'm doing that just because we're talking about these two fields and I want them right here in the center. So Clarity is introducing an option to disable the logic that's in place today where the target resolution date cannot be set to after the impact date. So we've got an administrative option that I'll show you in just a second to disable this logic. This feature was voted up as a high priority by customers through the customer innovation process. So with the option, the end user community has way more flexibility, and this really helps reduce confusion and adoption barriers. So for demo purposes, I'll just focus on risk for the project object. The capabilities are the same for issues across the other supported investment types. So if we focus in here on the target resolution date, you'll notice that all of these dates are either before or on the date of what's the impact date. So that's the logic that's in place today. So if I attempt to change this copy scope change, I'll change this to like January 12th. You can see that it gracefully accepted that, right? How did that happen? So let's go back into, into Classic, and I'll go into settings area here, project management settings, and there's the new toggle. I'll check the box, uncheck the box, and set that, and come back to our project, and I'll go into our same risk module, and I'm going to go ahead and pick underfunded, right? This date is currently set before the impact date. I'll just go ahead and try and set that to January 5th, and I'm going to get that message. So that's the message that we can disable quite easily by just coming into Classic and selecting Allow, hit Save, and come back. I'll just refresh for it to take effect. Now what we're doing here is really removing that confusing logic where customers or users at some point don't understand how they are not able to set those dates. One other thing I want to show you is the behavior in Classic. It also impacts Classic users. So I'm going to go ahead again and go into Classic from here. I'm going to go right to our project. I'm going to go to Risk, Issues, and Changes. I'm going to go to the copy. You can see here the resolution date and the impact date are both here. So let's go to the sponsorship risk. I'm going to drill into that. Target resolution date. I'll try and set that to something that falls after the impact date. Let's just say January 22nd, Monday. If I hit save and return, it should gracefully, yeah, actually just gracefully accepted that change, and we're in good shape. So what we've done is allowed the system, the administrator, to set up an environment that doesn't create a lot of confusion for end users. I do want to point out that on upgrade to 16.2.1, that toggle remains off or unchecked, so the existing behavior on upgrade remains in effect. So I'll just come back to my risk module here and just note that that concludes the demo for removing the date restriction for the target resolution impact dates. And that concludes the demonstration of all of the new features for 16.2.1. So thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.